Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, residents say barricades, though inconvenient, contribute to decrease in crime. In some of Kingston's more gritty communities, barriers stretching across roads is not new. The practice had its early beginnings in the late 1970s when political violence rocked the country. Residents of the affected communities, in a desperate bid to live, blocked roads with just about anything they could find that would deny armed men traveling in motor vehicles easy access and exit to commit drive-by shootings. Years later, after thugs shed political fighting for gang warfare over drugs and personal vendettas, the practice of setting up road barriers increased as residents continued to be gripped by fear. Today, the barriers have changed from debris, large and small, to concrete slabs, and in at least one case, a padlocked steel door. And while they have created some inconvenience, residents say they have worked. The crime rate has been cut down, one resident of Parade Gardens, downtown Kingston, told the news, while others chimed in with stories of shootings that used to take place before. In that community, some of the barricades were actually set up by the security forces as part of the zones of special operations in 2022. They are waist high and practically immovable on human strength alone. It is a plus for the community, another resident said, indicating that only those who wished to do harm were inhibited by the barriers. About 1 kilometer from Parade Gardens, just off Slap Road, is Price Lane, which sits close to Torrington Bridge. Students from nearby Wolmer's Boys School could once walk freely through Price Lane, but now a steel door, locked with several heavy-duty padlocks, cuts off access. The residents say they are protecting the young men and the teachers from violent crime. We used to have a gate there where people go through, but sometimes when criminals rob people, they run through it, so we lock it off, said a long-time resident. Another resident, who did not wish to be named, elaborated, "The youths rob the teachers and run through here and go out onto the main road, and when the police come they think we are robbing the people, and we know we are not robbers, so we put a stop to it. When we try to hold the robbers, them go for them gunman friends and gunshot fire up here. The only thing we can do is just lock up the gate and the teachers them stop getting robbed. Wolmer's is our school," the resident said. One resident maintained that he felt 1,000 times safer with the steel door padlocked. In neighboring Hannahtown, more serious crimes than just robberies were frequent, and residents were skittish of the press. The few who did speak to the news told us many of their neighbors had packed up and left the area because of the sky-high violence. Cordoning off sections of that community are several concrete barriers, augmented with a Jamaica Defense Force checkpoint as part of a ZOSO similar to what obtains in Parade Gardens. There were triple murders, double murders, everybody just a dead. I lost my father, a young man explained. The young man declined to be named or appear on camera, but was willing to talk about his experience in the area. The ZOSO came in and they put some roadblocks. The crime in the community went down but didn't stop. It stopped the drive-bys and some unnecessary shooting. But if they are removed, it's going to cause chaos. The violence is just, I don't know what's going on. It's like it isn't reducing, it just keeps going up, he said. The young man pointed to the barriers and the checkpoint manned by several JDF personnel and said, "Those are our safety." A member of the JDF who spoke with the news said that criminal elements were still finding their way into Hannahtown. With vehicular access blocked, the soldiers explained that the men come in on foot to commit violent crimes, which include holdups and shootings, though the barriers help us somewhat. While Price Lane residents feel safe and the Parade Gardens is seeing a drastic reduction in crime, Hannahtown continues to find its footing. However, in all the communities the news visited, residents expressed a desire for peace and quiet, to be allowed to carry out their business and raise their children without the threat of violence, even if it means making their homes inaccessible. Tufton pursues a partnership with the Philippines for human resources for health. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, is in the Philippines, where he is pursuing a partnership to boost Jamaica's human resources for health. The minister's travel to the Philippines follows the visit of Dr. Teodoro Herbosa, Secretary of Health for the Philippines, to Jamaica in January, when the two countries signed a memorandum of understanding to collaborate around the health workforce in both countries. Since arriving in the Philippines, we have had a series of bilateral discussions involving my team and his to work out the details of a training program between the two countries for specialist nurses, Tufton said. The idea is to have Jamaican specialist nurses trained remotely and then to have our trainees come in on rotation to hospitals here in the Philippines, he explained. We are also working through possibilities for healthcare workers from the Philippines coming to work in Jamaica, as well as to have faculty members from the Philippines do training in Jamaica, the minister added. Jamaica and the Philippines signed the MOU on health cooperation in New Kingston on January 23, day 2 of the first ever Health and Wellness Career Expo and Employment Fair. That event, hosted by the Ministry of Health and Wellness in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, saw the participation of the Secretary of Health, who was present for the opening ceremony of that event a day earlier. By pooling our expertise and resources, we can offer better training and ensure an equitable distribution of health care professionals, Tufton said at the time. The MOU provides for faculty or trainer exchanges, as well as a training and a certification of health professionals. It also allows for capacity building and knowledge sharing in biotechnology, medical equipment, epidemiology, and healthcare management, and exchange visits for specialist nurses and other professionals. The efforts to partner on the health workforce in the two countries come as Jamaica and other small island developing states face challenges with their human resources for health. These challenges include a competition to retain health workers, including nurses, who are routinely recruited by overseas employers from the developed world. Second victim dies from Hart Street gun attack. A second man has died following Friday evening's drive-by shooting on Hart Street in Montego Bay. He has been identified as 27-year-old security guard Malik MacDonald of a Hart Street address. His death follows that of 29-year-old Exodus Dunkley of Flagstaff in the parish. Both men were reportedly part of a group that was at the intersection of Hart Street and Carinaldi Avenue when a silver Toyota Axio motor car drove up. Men alighted from the vehicle armed with high-powered rifles and opened fire at the group. They then escaped the scene in the waiting motor vehicle. When the shooting subsided, 7 individuals were found to be suffering from gunshot wounds. They were taken to hospital, where Dunkley was pronounced dead. MacDonald was admitted in serious condition and later succumbed to his injuries hours later. The police say they are looking at different leads in the matter and are urging individuals to come forward to assist in the investigation. Shortly after the shooting, the police in Barrytown were called to deal with another matter where 2 men were shot. 1 man has subsequently died and the other is in hospital. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.